So pay attention. Wake up. Okay. So cosine law, when you're solving for angle measures. So far we just did SAS. Now we're going to look at side, side, side. I don't know if you remember, but I will say it one more time here. Note, because this is important. If given a choice, solve for largest angle first. Okay, that's very important to not run into issues because you're trying to see, is there possibly an obtuse angle in the mix? Okay, and you want to get it out of the way. Cosine law knows the difference, sine law doesn't. Okay, so here we go. Solve for angle A, right? So if it's solving for angle A, it's this one right here. That's not the largest angle, is it? But so that's okay. We're going to use cosine law for that one. What's the three-letter notation for that angle? If I asked you that for this angle right here, right, you could say BAC, right? Angle BAC, or you could start from this side, CAB, right? CAB would also be acceptable. You need to be comfortable with the three-letter notation, right? But remember, A is still always in the middle, no matter what you do. And in this case, that's the angle that we're after, okay? You ready? Okay, so cosine of that angle, whatever it is called, watch this. I'm going to use red for this one. Actually, can I do this as well? Red on that one. So if that's the angle that I want, then I need to make sure that I have minus a squared on this side. I have to have the side across that angle back here, which means that I will have b squared plus c squared adding, right? And if you remember the pattern, it's 2 times b times c down here. Like, so these two sides show up again, not squared, but they're just multiplied by 2 like that. Okay. So I wrote down the formula because it's somewhat new to us, right? So cosine of A is going to be, the first number I want you to write down is, I want you to find A first and foremost. It's across angle A. This is side A. Across angle B, this is lowercase b, and this is lowercase c, right? So we're going to take the 18 and subtract, right? Square and subtract from the rest, and then you just grab the other 2, which is 30 squared plus 22 squared, just like that. And the bottom you have 2 times 30 times 22. 18 should not show up anymore. That's the only place it shows up, right? It shouldn't show up anywhere else. So watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to show you to do this. Please do this step, right? We're going to figure out what the numerator is and the denominator separately. So grab your calculators. I'm just going to show you what works for most of my students. If I go back, right, and find out a method that works most of the time, right? So you type in whatever's in the numerator, make sure everything is squared, and make sure the last number is subtracted, right? And you get 1,060 exactly. If there are decimals, write them all down, okay? In the denominator, you go 2 times 30 times 22. That's 1320. Okay? And watch this. This is unusual, but you're going to go one more step. You're going to go 1060 divided by 1320. You're going to turn that into a decimal. And that's 0.8030, and that keeps going. So So you can do it all like that. This is acceptable because this really results to this, which is also this, right? This is all mathematically correct. Okay, so angle A, when you're trying to find an angle, you use inverse, correct? We use the inverse. So we're going to go cosine, it's cosine law, remember? Cosine inverse of that, 0.8030 and dot, 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 meaning we're using all decimals. So I just park that on my calculator and I go shift, cos, and then I hit equals. Some of you don't have to press equal depending on your calculator, and that's 3658. That would be degrees. If you don't get what I'm getting, first check, is my calculator set to degrees? Okay. That's the first order of business. And then secondly, you would have to check if you typed it in correctly. I would not advise typing this in one shot unless you know what you're doing. I would not. I would do top separately, bottom separately, and then divide. Okay. That's SSS with the cosine law, right? You have to use cosine law. Here's where things are going to change with cosine law only. Okay, so watch carefully. I designed it so that you can see it side by side. Determine the measure of the largest angle. I'm going to use a different highlighter here, largest angle. And what would be the three-letter notation for that angle? We'll deal with that once we identify the largest angle. So go up with me to the diagram. It's across the longest side. This is my largest angle right here. Okay, so it's indeed that angle there that we're after. Let's do the three-letter notation right here. So no matter what, C would be in the middle. Right? This would be the middle letter. And just go to the left. A, C, B would be an acceptable answer. Or, right, you just start from this side. So B, C, A. But what has to be fixed is C. C has to be in the middle, or else you're going to quote the wrong angle. Okay. So let's go ahead and find angle C in this case. Okay. So follow me here. I don't know if you need to write out the formula, but I will do it because these are your notes. So cosine of C, I will just make sure that side C squared is going to be subtracted here, which leaves me with A squared plus B squared. Remember, the letters will vary. Sometimes you'll have X, Y, Z. So focus on the pattern, not the letters. 2 times A times B. And right, there's C, side C. Okay, let's go. Cosine of C, I guess the first number I'm going to write down is the C squared. So I'm going to go minus 30 squared, right? And then I just focus on the other two sides, which is 22 squared plus 18 squared. And then the denominator is 2 times 22 times 18. Right? These two sides show up again down here. Type in the top, see what you get. There will be something special about it if you do it right. Go for it. I want you to discover it. Something different about this one. A negative? You get a negative, right? That is special about cosine. That tells you something, which we're going to find out in a minute. So maybe you already found out. So 22 squared, oops, plus 18 squared, minus 30 squared. Yes, minus 92, right? That is actually, I'm going to highlight that in a bit. Let's just keep going. I'm going to figure out what the denominator is, 792. And then let's turn that into a decimal. You know it's going to be negative. like you don't even have to wonder, right? So I'm going to go 92 divided by 792. That's negative 0.1161, and that keeps going. I'm not going to round. Okay. So watch this. Your last line is angle C would be cosine inverse of, don't drop the negative, okay? Usually you want to drop the negative, right? Negative vibes, but not here, not with cosine law. Right? So this is where some students have an issue. Mr. Dixon, I don't have a negative in my calculator here. This is my trick. I would just go times -1. Like just take what is on your calculator, multiply it by -1, it turns it into a negative. Some of you have a plus minus button. You can press that one, right? However, you want the negative there, right? So then you go shift, cosine, hit equals, and you should get 96.67 degrees. And what kind of angle is this? Out of the three main types, there's acute, there's right, and then there's obtuse, right? This is an obtuse angle, right? It's greater than 90, right? And you know that, sorry, you could have predicted that already because of this. That actually, before you even came up with your answer, as soon as you have a negative showing up, you know it's going to be obtuse without even going any further. It could be 90.01, it could be 91, 92, it could be 150, doesn't matter. It will be bigger than 90. Okay? It will be guaranteed. It will also give you another warning. If you, for whatever reason, get something that doesn't start with a 0, you're going to get a math error. Okay, it's going to give you a mistake. So that usually means you typed it in wrong. Sometimes students forget to square. Sometimes they put the 30 down here for some reason. Right, this side here that shouldn't be showing up anymore. So there we go. So now the angle of the last angle there would be angle B, which is 180 minus angle A minus angle C. So let's go ahead and do that. Can you ever have a triangle with more than one obtuse angle? Is it possible? It's actually not possible, right? You can only ever have one obtuse angle. Minus 96.67. So that's 46.75. I don't want you to add this to your notes, right? But here's the main reasoning why you cannot have more than one obtuse angle, right? Because for you to be obtuse, right, you need at least something that's bigger than 90. If you had another angle bigger than 90, right, that already, I don't know if you can figure out, that's already 182 degrees. And what do all angles always add up to in a triangle? The maximum was 180, right? So you can never have, and this is only two angles. What about that third angle? You need a third angle for a triangle, right? So you can never have more than one obtuse angle in a triangle. Okay, learn something new. I didn't learn something new. I knew that already. Well, maybe a reminder. Okay, so we want to practice what we just learned. I want you to come across a negative. I want that to happen because it will happen. Okay, so let's go to page 21. I want you to stick with cosine law today, like for this one right now. Okay, I want you to stick to cosine law because you need to practice it. because technically you can switch as soon as you have a pair. Okay, so I want you to solve the triangle below, which means solve all angles, all sides. The sides are already solved, right? So no need to solve for sides. But watch, I tell you one more time, given SSS scenario, solve for the largest angle first. Please do that right now, okay? Largest angle first, and then you solve for anything else you need to solve, okay? It says you may use any law, but yeah, you need to start with a cosine law. There's no other way around it, okay? So let's practice this, and then we'll correct it, okay? Anyways, we're not done yet. So these are the angles. I can just show you maybe why am I emphasizing finding the largest angle? Because there is a problem, sine law. Sine law, if let's say you could use sine law along the way and you're trying to find an obtuse angle, sine law cannot find it. Sine law is not as smart as cosine law. How is that? And so if you find the largest angle and it happens to be obtuse, no problem, cosine law will take care of that, right? And there's actually a problem with an example before this that I did with you. I actually fell into that trap, right? So I'll show you later on that you have to watch out for that. But essentially, this work might look a little different than yours, right? Because I do this and then this and then this, right? Side by side, saves you space, right? But it's essentially doing the exact same thing. Please do not forget the negative, right? So I will maybe just mention it one more time because you're still learning, right? When you get a negative like that, actually type it in my calculator. I can go negative 221.27 divided by 730.08. And then your answer as a decimal will have that negative, right? So when you use cosine inverse, you get your obtuse angle, which is what you should expect, okay? You should expect an obtuse. Let's step it up a notch. Ready? Come with me to page 22. I will call these sketch and solve. What? We have to sketch triangles? Yeah, not to scale. You don't have to draw them to scale. I just need you to be able to do one of these, okay? You're with me? This will be the last thing I do, okay? Triangle fun has the following dimensions, right? Angle F, angle N, side U. What is going on here, right? Make a sketch, then solve the triangle. So can I ask you, this is the standard sketch I want you to do. Just make it off-centered, that it's not symmetric. Just do one of these. It's definitely not a right triangle. And there it is. You got this part down? And then just go by the letters that are given to you. Triangle fun. So it doesn't matter where you start. It honestly doesn't matter. It will just look different than mine. You go fun like this, clockwise. That's what I usually do, right? You put those capital letters in the corners, which means that this is lowercase u, lowercase f, lowercase n, right? And now fill in what you know, right? So they gave us angle F is 42 degrees, so we put that in here. They gave us angle N, which is right here. That's 36 degrees. And what else do they give us? Side U, right? This is a side length. So that's 37.42, and that happens to be right here. Because we have time, and this is going to be this one and the one underneath it, that's going to be the last thing I want you to do. I know you're tired, but think about this one. What would you have to use? Don't tell me just yet. But what law would you have to use to solve this one? Don't tell me just yet. Just think about it. I want everybody to think about it. Which law would work in this case? You thought about it? Okay. Anybody, any brave volunteer? Claire's? Sine law. Would you agree with that? I think Claire's is right. And so how can you know? Two angles are given. I would say find angle U right off the bat. And please show me this works somewhere. It doesn't take much and it gives you a full mark, right? I just need my tea because on Mondays I don't want to make mistakes. That's 102 degrees. Angle, right? That is gold. So then you're like, I thought this was all cosine law, Mr. Dirksen. Not anymore. Okay, we're not just sticking with cosine law. You have your pair. I don't know if you want to use a highlighter or something, right? Pair. Sine law. Right? I used to make students memorize ASA, SSA, blah blah blah, and it was just a nightmare, right? So pair is much easier, right? Hey, you have a pair, sine law. That's it. Case closed. So I'll hand it over to you. Solve this triangle. I want you to solve for all the sides, all the angles. Technically, there's only two sides left now. I will give you the answers and then also do the one underneath, and that's it for today. You want me to do this one with you? I think you have what it takes. You're smart cookies. And I'll walk around, so if you're not working, I will be on your case. I'll lay down the law. Hey. Gotta do one of the laws. Okay, so I'll give you the answers here. If you want to look up at some point, 25.60 inches for side F. Side N is 22.49. And then solve the one underneath too. And I will give you those as well. There's an obtuse angle there. But you will miss it if you don't start with the largest angle. Okay. Can you read that? I hope. Way down here. Made a mistake down here. So if you want more practice, right? Starting on page 23, 24, 25, and then answer key on page 26 is actually the key. That way you're going to be in pretty good shape for the AC tomorrow. Okay. Good job, guys. Remember, if you have questions, let me know. Flag me down.